Hi, it's Phoenix Chira. I'm back once again with my newest segment called That Thought. And I'm thinking this is going to be a lot of fun, at least for me. I don't know about everybody else. Anyway, so I've written down on a handy piece of paper. You do know what paper is, right? So in this segment, I want to talk about supervisors, standards of practice, and politics in corporations. Now, you may have just stepped away. You're like, I'm not gonna get into this one. But I have some experience in this and they all weave together. All right. It's basically one giant experience, unfortunately, that had all of these different aspects to it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to speak about today is supervisors. Okay, I've had a few supervisors over the years. They've been good, they've been not so good, and they've been trash. Let's be honest. So one of the things that I want to emphasize here is if you are going to be given a promotion at your job, and the promotion comes with a new title, fancy title. You know, you went from to wow. If that fancy title does not come with a fancier paycheck, then in my opinion, it's not really a promotion. Now, I know to some people, they really love the notion of getting a different or prettier sounding title after their name. That has never been anything to motivate me. If I had a boss that said, hey, we're going to give you this new title, my response would be, great, what money comes with it? Because titles mean to me. I couldn't care less about a title. That's my first little segue into this. So I had a supervisor once, and they wanted to be the supervisor and have all the benefits of the supervisor, have people report to them and do everything that they wanted them to do, basically without question. But this person was not really good at motivating people, making them feel like they were part of a team. And essentially, if you didn't learn how to do a certain part of your job within a couple of instruction points, you were in trouble. Now you might say, well, what do you mean in trouble? I mean, did you get reprimanded? No, this person was very passive aggressive, which I find hysterical because they would always point out the passive aggressiveness of others that we had to deal with on a regular basis. And they would literally say, well, that person is passive aggressive. Can you believe it? And I would just sit there like, so yeah. They never got the fact that they themselves were passive aggressive. We would complain to our boss about the supervisor because that is the chain of command. If you can't get a resolution with the person you report to, you go to the next step. And we all did, because there was no bending to the wind with this person. No, they were right, everyone else was wrong. So we were told they were on their way out, and then one day they weren't on their way out. It was weird. It was really a weird turn of events. So this supervisor was considered abusive. Not physically abusive, but verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, hence passive aggressive, and was really not a people person at all. We worked in the office environment, and at a later point we were working from home, and they were ecstatic about that because they didn't have to have anyone ever come to them anymore physically. They didn't like the fact that you could walk up behind them, in their cubicle And hey, I got a question. So this passive aggressiveness really poisoned the water, so to speak. It poisoned the environment. It poisoned the relationship. It got to the point where I was apologizing for things that were done to me. Like, I'm sorry for my part in this event or this situation that happened where you were a real complete asshole to me. I received 2 apologies in about 4 or 5 years. One was sincere, but it was like an apology for something I didn't even know happened. Oh, thanks. And the other one went like this. I'm sorry, but. Anytime you add but after something means that you just erased everything you just said. And it was very abusive because, you would do things that they told you to do, and then they would say, I didn't tell you to do that. You would do things the way you were told to do it, and then I didn't tell you to do it that way. And it got to the point where I refused to receive instructions unless they were in writing. Send me an email. Send me a message. I need to see it in writing. So I have had some good supervisors. The last one, not so good. I remember a supervisor in particular who was a person who took interest in what was going on with you, but did not emphasize it. In other words, she was there for you. She would listen. If you wanted advice, she would give it to you. She would help you with, your work and get things done. She knew how to do everything that you knew how to do. So she was very informative and helpful. And at the same time of showing interest in your life, she didn't pry into your life. There's a fine line there. But the next supervisor that replaced her, it was all about emotions, was all about her. And, if you weren't friends with her, if you didn't agree with her, then she would find someone else to talk to. She would have her meetings with you. Your one-on-ones were very short if she didn't like you or was intimidated by you, and very long if, you were willing to talk about what she did that weekend. I think that there are cases where a person should not take on a role of being a supervisor. One is if you're not willing to actually be involved with your people that report to you, if you don't care about people at all, if you don't like people, if you're annoyed every time someone says your name, if you're going to get mad when people don't do it your way rather than trying to determine if maybe their way is better. And of course, my experience is from my point of view, so I can understand someone saying, well, I don't know, it's just one side of the story. That's right. This is my segment called That Thought. It's just my thought. I'm just trying to talk about a subject that I find interesting and fascinating, that this person became the supervisor, didn't want to be the supervisor, demanded to be the supervisor, hated being the supervisor. Everyone complained about them. They were supposed to be let go, and then something happened behind the scenes. My guess is the Human Resource Department told my boss, back off. That's my feeling. That's my thought on that. That's that thought. Is that what happened? Is that what happened? I may never know. I may never know. But that's okay. That's the way it goes. This is Phoenix Jira, and I'm done with that thought.